You ready, Brad?
Yeah, let's do it.
Grazie. Hello, everyone. It's Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Heart.
Hang on. You start without me saying nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Go.
Hi, everyone. It's Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Hearts, and we have Mr. Brad Olsen here, and we're on Soma Fusion, Mind, Body, and Soul tonight. How are you, Brad? Welcome.
I'm doing great, Veronica. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you
Good to
for
see you.
answering back so quickly.
Yeah, I do that. Pretty punctual guy.
Thank you.
You got to be in this business.
Mhm.
You know the old saying, success is showing up on time, 80% showing up on time. So
That's right. That's right. I first
we don't,
met, Sorry.
we don't need more flakes in this
No.
business.
No,
The
we
joke
don't.
in San Francisco is a lot of people have been displaced during COVID and the raising in rents. And San Francisco's kind of like a box of granola. What happens when you remove all the flakes, or when you remove all the nuts and the fruits? All you're left with are the flakes. So
The snowflake.
we don't need more flakes. Is my point.
No, we don't need no flakes. So I first met you, Brad. I'm really excited that I met you at the 5D event in March, and that was my first time ever speaking. And for the public that doesn't know, hasn't seen Brad in like person, he is like the tallest man I've ever known or seen. And that's pretty exciting. I'm sure you get how's the weather up there, all kinds of jokes, right? How tall are
Yeah,
you?
well, keeps me out of trouble too. 6'7".
Wow. Is your family that tall too?
I have a cousin who's equally as tall, and yeah, we're generally above average, all the males. I have some cousins on my dad's side that are only 5 foot tall women, and then on my mom's side, the real big guys.
Nice,
And my brother is, and my dad's taller than average. So
nice.
I like to be known for more than just my physique and good looks, though. I am a book author, as you know, Veronica, and I speak at conferences. So I got a mind on this body too, and that.
Yes, I was gonna ask you. You have a brand new book called Beyond Esoteric, Prison Planet.
Escaping Prison Planet. And so while we're on the subject, would you like to express how you think we can be escaping from Prison Planet? What does that mean to you?
Interesting. To me, the way I'm doing it, and a lot of people have not agreed with how I think, but that's my opinion. This is my journey myself. I was able to, I made a short video called How Did I Escape the Matrix? So basically just removing as many programs as I could. I named my channel for a reason, Unchaining Hearts, unchaining my heart, unchaining, like seeing who I really am, studying my bloodline. Like I told you in the conference, I'm a O negative blood type, and just finding out my lineage and finding out who I am and my powers, like how I came in, doing good for others. Some people are building like a, how do you say, they're building a UFO to escape the prison planet. I understand that, you know, but myself, I'm multidimensional. I do not consent to being entrapped. I know that me personally, I know that when I'm done here, I'm leaving. I'm going back home because I'm, you know, with the near-death experience that I had, that, you know, I died for 3 days, blah, blah, blah. I feel that, you know, because I did want to go home, I made a deal with, you know, my team, and I said, okay, fine, I'll finish my mission, but I'm not coming back. And I always say that I'm not coming back. So basically, Brad, I don't know if I answered it, but just trying to you know, get away from all the programs and things like that, and understanding my memories from the SSP and finding out who I am, trying to integrate all my alters, and helping save Mother Earth. What can I say? And the children and the animals. And thank you.
Everything that goes with it. There you go. Well, you just mentioned your altars and being in the Secret Space program, and I was a moderator for a panel that you were on. And by the way, for your first conference and your first public lecture, Veronica, I think you did remarkably well. You're a very gifted communicator and speaker, and what you've gone through in the programs and with the altars is truly remarkable. And I was very fascinated with your account, as well as some of the other super soldiers, although now they like to be known as enhanced soldiers. Remember the couple that was in the audience when you guys were doing when all the speakers came up and did about a 20-minute, half-hour talk, and they were in the back and they were very reluctant to come up, but you knew them, the Wolverine guy and his girlfriend, and in the end you guys had a very heartfelt reunion, hugging each other. There were some tears, and they came out with their account of being in the programs and getting their memories back and so forth. And I was really taken with how genuine that was, that to go and fake that. And you even called out someone in the audience. There was someone watching us from perhaps one of these letter agencies. And I think you handled that remarkably well. You just said, you know that someone's here. You didn't call them out, although I think we all know who it was. And that's a fairly common thing at conferences. They will send someone out to watch us and listen to presentations. And so the joke is, maybe it's not even so much a joke, but that they're coming not to hear what we have to say, but what we don't say. So they're very much keeping account of how advanced this community gets. And then they'll report back on, well, there were a bunch of super soldiers and they spoke about this and that, but they didn't bring up this or that. So it's that kind of thing. And they're everywhere. We play the game Spot the Mole at conferences, and this person was pretty obvious who it was. So that was a very amusing and educational and very emotionally involved lecture that you did with James Rink, and Penny Bradley was there, and you were the three primary speakers. But then when they came up, boy, it really got authentic. And I thought you did a great job. So congratulations on your first big conference.
Thank you, Brett. I was very nervous and I spoke really fast, but I appreciate your words. Yes, it was Susan and Frank. They're known as the Phoenix and the Dragon. And
Right.
They were there. They were there just to listen. And I said, no, guys, you guys, we cried when we first met. When I met James, Penny, Lou, Susan, Frank, Amaria, we were crying. We're like, oh my God, it is you. And then Frank, he hugged me twice and he went, it is you, like, it is you. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's me, and we have a lot of, we put together so many memories and puzzles, and just, I'm so happy that I brought them on. And I want to also say thank you to James Rink and Penny Bradley, because we're all a family, and it's very important to keep together, because with these programs, because we have been in other factions that our altars are enemies, it's very important for us to get along here. However, there are some that unfortunately we're not going to get along, because there's a war going on, and as I said before, it's the ultimate goal is the timeline for the Civil War, because that's where we save most people and Mother Earth. So there's a war going on for that not to happen, and we have to fight the NAZIs and the bad Dracos, and that's what we're here for. And so hopefully we'll get it right this time. But enough about that. Brad, sorry, but would you like to explain a little more about your book, about your opinion about what you've heard people say. I mean, you just heard my tail end of how I escape my own thing, and I'm still working on the programs. I mean, you know, so.
Oh yeah, sure. And it's remarkable what you guys have gone through. And we should also say Michael Jaco was at this conference too, and he was on the original panel that I moderated, and he did his own talks too. I'm just fascinated how you guys are able to recall your memories, how you meet people that you knew before, the whole 20 and back, and then losing your memory and then rebuilding it, and then the alter egos. And that's what that comes from for your listeners who may not be familiar with that term. It took me a while to really understand that as well. So for someone like myself who's not coming out of the programs, I've never taken an oath or been in the service at all. I was just an independent backpacker going around the world. And I found it interesting with Michael Jaco. He's a couple years older than me, but around the same time in our age frame, he was doing all these things in the Navy SEAL and also traveling around the world, going to war-torn countries that no backpacker would ever go to. And so he's been to and seen a lot of places too, as have all you guys. And when this travelogue goes off planet, boy, it really starts to get interesting, because these are experiences that only a very select few have, like yourself and Captain Randy Kramer. He wasn't there, and a few others I've met in the programs, that I've learned so much about what was going on and what it takes. Another is Laura Eisenhower, who didn't go fully through with it, but she was being recruited to go off planet to Mars. And I think she's quite glad she declined that invitation, because I'll get into my book and I'm happy to talk about a lot of that stuff too, but I'm really interested in your story as well, as you can tell. And just if I could ask you one more question, what is it like now to get your memories back, to make these connections and to come in touch with your alters? And if you think maybe there could still be something out there, a trigger that might, as you said, you're programmed to be counter to some of these other super soldiers. Is there something that could still be lurking down there that might trigger something in all you guys? Or has that been worked out as you're regaining your memory?
This is a very serious question, Brad. Are you sure you want me to answer it?
Well, I'm sure I want you to answer it, but if it's private, you don't have to.
I will try and keep the name out. So, we have an enemy, and he is Pindar. But the person that is said to be Pindar is not. He is one of the 3 sons that are fighting for the throne. Okay, we are fighting all of them. Unfortunately, I really don't know. Like, I'm trying not to get too personal, but I have many lifetimes and memories with this person. And we tried to get together, but the Matrix was upset. I was shot at before I was supposed to go see him here in my apartment complex. We were supposed to move together because I found my divine counterpart. Thing of it is we didn't end up together. I'm not going to say why, but you know, the memories are real. I respect the person, but unfortunately, one of the altars is our enemy, our other faction enemy. It was a pretty tough situation. I didn't see it. I didn't see. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. But the other altars are pretty cool. The other altars, we all get, my altars and him with all his other altars, other than the one I mentioned, we all get along. Like, we love one another. But it's been tough, Brad, because the 3-letter agency, the CIA, does make it that we don't get together for those reasons, because of first of all, because of our mission, and two, they don't want us together because we're so powerful together. So, I mean, did I tell you about the elevators? As soon as we get there the next day at the West Gate in March, the elevators started breaking down, and then yeah, and it was our energy, all of us together.
Yeah.
There was a question in the audience. I think it was Violeta. Hi, Violeta, if you're watching. She said, why is it that you all don't live together? Like, how come you guys, James, Penny, all of us, why don't we all live together, like in the same city or whatever? And I said, because we're way too powerful. Like, we're needed in certain grid lines to take care of Mother Earth, like the dimensions, and the jump rooms. There's many jump rooms. There are many wormholes. There are many stargates that we are taking care of. So not only do we have this huge thing that we have to take care of, okay, this war coming, we have to take care of ourselves, our family, our bodies, our relationship, our mind, our soul. But it's like we have to guard our hearts and the whole, we are the Merkaba, right? So we have to guard like the whole, pretty much the whole universe. Guardians of the Galaxy, right? So and we have to, yeah. So it's not easy, but that's hopefully that answers some of the questions.
Well, you're holding it together. You're doing your show, and you're going to conferences, and you're doing your best to speak about it and get the word out. And I would bet that it's cathartic for you. It's a relief to be able to talk to an audience that's receptive to this message, and of course meeting the other people who know about programs that you've been in. You're among the very select few on the planet who has these kind of recalls, so it's worth recording and memorializing your guys' experience, because you're among the first generation to come back now after the programs and surviving. And I'm sure there are colleagues of yours who may have never come back or may have fallen in the line of battle. And I know that's true with Michael Jaco right here on Earth, but even off planet, Captain K lost a wife. Randy Kramer's wife was killed off planet, and he was quite heartbroken about it. I read it in his book. I was even talking to him about republishing that, but I'm not sure what he's doing. He might be doing it a different way. But these are memories and information that is worth chronicling. So you might want to consider your own book, or if you're getting this information out through your show, Veronica, then kudos to you, because it's a good thing to help people understand. Now, did you recall much about being off planet, or were your alters primarily here concerned with Earth?
Off planet and on planet.
What?
Mars.
Where'd you go off planet?
I went to Mars. Yeah, I went to Mars with Max Spears. Real quick on what you were talking about. I'm so sorry, Randy, about your wife being killed. I had no idea. I still have to meet him and talk to him. I haven't spoken to him, but anyway, yeah. So this particular person that I'm not going to mention was jealous that I was speaking to Max Spears in one of the jump rooms. We were getting ready to go to Mars, and we were we're on the ship. This particular situation. I was just talking to Max, just really happy, trying to get to know more of him and just talking. And then so this person, I don't know if this person was jealous or what. He says that he was trying to, get my attention on one of his altars. And in an interview that I did with this particular person, I believe it's the second interview, he actually admitted to killing Max Spears, and he apologized to his mom publicly. Later on in private, he told me how he did it, which I'm not going to talk about. But I cried, because it's like, how could this be? It's really tough, Brad. But anyway, yeah. and I said, well, why did you get rid of him? And he says, because he didn't get the timeline right. And I'm like, what? So that was the fourth time that Max had tried to get the timeline right, and something happened that he didn't get it right. So this person decided to get rid of him, and it upset me to know. But anyway, so yeah, on planet, off planet, I was with Max Beers there in Mars, and then also in Sepulveda, California Boulevard. There's a jump room there. I've been there. I've been in the lunar complex, and that was, transporting the children, and I've also
Every time?
not
The one right next to LAX, right? Hughes Aircraft.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the one, huh? Wow.
Yeah, that's one. And there's many. I have some here when I go on my bike ride on. If people are familiar with Tucson, it's St. Mary's and the freeway, west of the freeway. There's one there, a portal, Stargate. Many here in town. I'm close to Mexico, the Mexico border, so there's one there too. Many, but I've been Uranus. I've been in Uranus. There is a habitable place there. And when I started talking about this with my group, I started getting the energy weapons that they throw, in both of my sides of my ear, both ears. And then I had like this thing that was wrapped around my head because they didn't want me speaking about it or remote viewing more of what I had found in the past. I've been in Pluto. Pluto has these beautiful crystalline white flowers, huge, giant flowers and plants that I've never seen in my whole life here, in the 3D on Earth, and they're in Pluto. Let's see, I've been, Soel is one of my altars that had to, kill off the raptors and save the children that were in the black cages there under, there was water and all that. I've also been in the mansions. There's 3 mansions. There's a man that we call the old man. You guys can refer to the second. I can tell Katie which one to post, or I can post it on Facebook and then say this one, Brad, or whatever, tag you on it. We, a lot of SRA stuff that I'm not gonna get into happened there. The Sex Kitten program, Project Mannequin. I'm also a trained assassin. But anyway, yeah, I've been everywhere pretty much. Under the underground, Antarctica. My light body is there in Antarctica as we speak. And I want to ask you about Antarctica. How did you like get interested in that? And I would love to go to Antarctica myself. Tell me your experiences over there and what you found, and maybe Katie can share some of the pictures that you sent me, please.
Well, I'll tell you tell me about your Antarctica experiences. Show and tell, right? Here's the show, and I was there 2.5 years ago on a sailboat, a 26-day expedition, and boy, was that rough going over in very high swell seas in the Southern Ocean, which, by the way, National Geographic and other cartography organizations have recognized the Southern Ocean, which surrounds Antarctica, as officially the 5th ocean in the world. So a little bar bet you can use. Can you name the 5 oceans? And the hardest one is the Southern Ocean, but it's official now. And it's a different ocean because there is an Antarctic current that comes up from the south and more salty water, where the melting ice that is moving north away from the Antarctica continent is much colder. And so the water changes, there's different sea life. It is one of the richest eco-marine systems on the planet. And that gives rise to a lot of the wild animals that are able to survive down there, including, of course, penguins, seals, and whales. But whales were nearly hunted to extinction, and they're still reviving their numbers because the hunting only ceased around 50 years ago. So many of the whale species, had it not been for a pod of blue whales that didn't get seen by all the those sailors out to kill them, those species would have been gone, really gone. And the other one is the right whale, which is only now rebounding. And I caught a video of one swimming under our boat. They're very big and docile, and they're curious about us as we were them. So it was really just 15 full days going to other research stations, penguin colonies. We went into the bay at Deception Island, which is a volcanic caldera, and went ashore to an old 19th century whaling station that's now in ruins. So it was just an adventure every single day. And with 11 Polish people and 3 Americans, we were just all strangers when we met, but we're all good friends now. And that was quite an experience we shared together. So I just went down there because there's so many mysteries. I like traveling. I've been to now all 7 continents, and just wanted to look into some of these questions that we've heard about Antarctica, that there's this 3 craft under the ice that are miles across, to antediluvian civilization, including pyramids that might be sticking up out of the ice, and other mysteries, whatever we could find. That was the purpose of going down there. Plus, I got good research about Antarctica, more specifically about the New Schwabenland claims by the Nazis before World War II and then right afterwards, and including the Black Goo, which is from an island just off of Antarctica called South Thule Island, Thule, and a lot of other weird stuff. I mean, it is like going to another planet. It's the closest I can say I've been off planet, because it is so weird. Here's some maps from the Nazi era that I reprinted in the book, including this is New Schwabenland area where they're base 211, New Berlin base is there. These are maps showing underwater routes under the ice. So just to qualify, Antarctica is the most volcanically active continent of the world. 91 known volcanoes, and I was at one of them. And it's also covered with 2 miles thick of ice called the polar plateau. So if you think about the propensity of geothermal heat creating these large under ice domes where the air temperature would be pleasant enough to walk around in a t-shirt, and out of all the winter storm weather right now on the surface, it's the coldest place on planet Earth. But down below, with geothermal features, maybe even some hot springs you can jump into and have a spa lifestyle down there. So the propensity is there is a very high probability for habitable zones under the ice that could go completely unnoticed, undisturbed from the outside world. You can't even see it from satellite or Google Earth. And that's where the presumed alien bases are, very old ones, as well as the craft, as well as more modern factories for this interplanetary corporate conglomerate, as it's known. And off planet, the corporate secret space program. And I think that might be in association with what you were doing down there. Okay, so that was my show and tell. Now, what's yours, Veronica? Why
Well,
were you down there?
well, there are many ET beings down there that I've seen. I had a regression done with James Ring because I was getting these memories of being down there. The way I got here that I remember is that I came in as a shooting star from another realm. I am from the dragons, okay?
Right.
I'm not sure what what group, but all I know is that my SSP family, we are all dragons, and we're finding one another, because we did end up losing the last war with the bad Dracos. We'll call them bad Dracos. And so we decided to stay here, like come back, in other words, and fight again. So right now I've been finding that my SSP group family, we're all dragons. We're all from the dragon lineage. Some can be mixed, you know, with the lion. Some, like me, they augmented me with the dolphin DNA, so I can communicate with the dolphins. And I was also a teacher as a kid, teaching other kids how to be telepathic with the dolphins, and being able to help heal the planet and other people and grow limbs and things like that. It's, you know, it started out with, oh, if somebody gets hurt in war, right? That's the cover. But in reality, they're making super soldiers down there in Black Shield. But anyway, real quick, so I came in as a shooting star. You know, I feel that we all have, I know that we all have ships, okay? When I go back home, I'm gonna go back to my ship, where my planet is, my dimension. I did a regression with Misha Johnson, and I saw my great grandfather. He had like the black whiskers, and he's a very, very huge, giant golden dragon. And I was able to talk to him and things like that. And, you know, I want to go home, but I'm not done, right? So I came in as a shooting star from another realm. I'm not sure what my home is called. It could be Mara, and my name could also be Maura. But I'm still looking into that. And so I did a regression with James Rink, where I was able to speak to Janine. Janine is she was one of the ladies in lab coat, one of the scientists, and they're making soldiers like Leek Sedadin. They're trying to pretty much make super soldiers like us, but they really can't, because we're the original ones. China has some super soldiers that are going to be coming up, pretty much part of what they call disclosure. As we all know, we are at war with China, but at the same time, we have patents that meaning the United States has for the world to be ruled by G Mafia, which is you know, Google, Microsoft. Say again, Katie. For the world. Hello?
I think it's just
Is Katie talking to us, or is it robotic?
something robotic. I got a
Okay.
little feedback. I heard it too.
Okay, every time I mention this, hopefully we won't get kicked off, but G Mafia is Google, Microsoft, and then we have Apple, Facebook, Instagram, and Amazon. Okay. I speak about what they want to, I know I'm going a little off topic, but we'll go back. But what they want to do is the smart cities.
Right.
Sound is coming from Veronica's mic. That is so weird. Nobody's here but just me and my cats. Go away, mother effers. But anyway, yeah, so the smart cities that they're trying to do with what's going on right now, right? With the promoting of, you know, what they want in our system, which I am saying no to that. They are trying for everybody to go into transhumanism. You know, Elon Musk, I don't agree with him. Join them?
Right.
No, we're not going to join them. Heck no. You know, it's a war because they're trying to find out who the real bloodline is, who the O negatives, who the, you know, positive carriers, who are we? Like they're trying to match soldiers to fight with us. They're trying to get rid of us, in other words, because we have that lineage, you know, that comes from King David, you know, Christ. How do you say his wife? What was his wife's name? Mary Magdalene. It goes beyond that, though. It goes past that. It goes Sumerian tablets. It goes way past Egypt. It goes. I mean, this war has been going on. We'll call them the bad Lyrians, are fighting too with bad Dragos. I don't even want to say bad or good because right now, who the heck knows? But anyway, the G Mafia, what they want is have the AI god, because there's two types of AI, the good and the bad, right? The one of the timelines that we are negating, that we are not consenting to, is the AI machine world, right? And that is what they're trying to do right now with the New World Order. That's another timeline that we don't want. They're with what they're giving people, it's nanites, nanobytes are going into the system to change. Right?
No,
I do not consent. Yeah, to change the whole genetics,
right.
to kill off what they call the ghost DNA, the junk DNA, pretty much the royalty, right? The you know, the goodness, the
Connection to
fighters.
spirit.
Say again?
Connection to spirit.
Connection to spirit, to source. They want to pretty much kill the God gene.
Yeah.
So, you know, with the, okay, so it started with in LA, you know, they started to break down, you know, get rid of some buildings, make these smart cities where, if you've ever seen that movie Stepford's Wife, they will show you the tanks that they have these women in, okay, because they're genetically modifying these women to serve the men, to be whatever they want, you know, robotic, to be the best wife they could be, to say yes to everything. The refrigerator will say, we're out of milk, right? And it'll be ordered right there and then. That's part of the smart cities.
Let me ask you this. Those women, they're grown out of test tubes. Do they contain a human soul? Or are they like the children with the black eyes or the men in black, that they're human-like, but they're empty of a human soul as we know it? Do you have any intel on that?
What I see is that they have a soul, but it's shut off. Okay.
Mhm.
Just like when before we were supposed to ever awaken, what I call awakening, because there's several awakenings, right, that we have, but like the
Right.
major awakening,
Yep.
they try to shut us down, like through the Omega programming. They have a switch, okay, in our brain, and of course it's wired through what I call what they call V2K, or God to skull voice. Like for example, myself, I was hearing kill yourself, you're not worth it, blah blah blah.
Wow.
So people can also hear, you know, why don't you just go do some whatever drug, because your life is over, pretty much. Just keeping everyone down as much as they can to program them. So with this thing that's going around, it's basically here that we have like two neurological, I used to get nerve blocks here in the back of my head, because I have really bad migraines, and I still get the migraine shots once every 6 months. I try not to. It's been like 7 months now, and they're horrible.
Were you
The migraine
implanted back
shots.
there? Did
Yeah.
they put an implant? And you had
Yeah,
it removed, right?
There's 2 implants here. I don't know if it's removed or not, but that's why I wear my
Well,
beanie.
you know.
I
So
don't
you
know.
still have one or two, presumably.
I
And they
still
can,
have implants. There's
do you
one
feel
that's
like they can
bothering me.
control
Huh?
you mentally? Can they control you mentally,
Well, no,
physically?
they can't, because I know already I know the difference between who is me,
Programming.
right? Who is my self, higher self, I guess,
Right.
as opposed to what they want me to do. And it's tough. That's why, you know, I wear the beanie hat during the day, at night too. The beanie hat is pretty much blocks the Wi-Fi from my neighbors. I turned off my Wi-Fi at night. I finally was able to get some Wi-Fi. I didn't want it, but I had to for this show. There's an implant on my left foot that has been bothering me. I've had 5 surgeries on my feet because I was born like
Wow.
hibernating, because I'm part fish.
You Pisces, you.
Pisces.
Come from a water planet, do you?
Triple
Used to be a
Pisces,
dolphin.
baby. The dragon mermaid. Here we go. So there's an implant on my left side of the outside of my foot that it hurts when I go work out. It just, You should see how many pairs of shoes I've had to go through. But there's an implant
Wow.
that's hurting a lot. And I told the doctor years ago when I had the last surgery, I said, you left something in there. And he said, what are you talking about? That's just a scar tissue. I go, no, I feel it. It's like it feels like wire. And I've been wanting to cut it off, but I don't know how deep it goes. We'll see. So anyway, there's some people that have been able to get their implants out with
Yeah.
how do you say, with magnets.
Freon, don't have to freeze them, or magnets.
Yeah,
You got to
magnets.
keep them in place. This is my understanding, that you can see them in an x-ray, you know they're there, but when the surgeon opens up the skin to try to pluck them out, they evade capture. And so you have to freeze them with a magnet or Freon, something like that, to keep them in place to get them out. They're very clever. A form of AI, I would say, if they have the ability to evade capture. What's your perception? Or is it just some kind of antenna?
It kind of reminds me of like the Matrix movie. Remember the first one where Keanu Reeves has to be like, they tell him to like, you know, not move, and they take out the parasite that the Mr. Smith put into his umbilical cord.
Right.
They take it out with
Yeah.
a special weapon,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I feel the same way too, Brad. They will try and evade. They will, because they're scared.
Wow.
They're, like I said, they're sentient beings, you know. And this reminds me of when I was in okay, so as kids, super soldiers, we were placed in the CIA office, okay, to write programs for us, for in the future, for us to be able to save ourselves and save the planet and different, I won't go into like the major the plans, but we're in this office, and there's a main office, and then there's like all these desks that are around. And like I said, I was in charge of securities, and I was in charge, and I'm in some technology. So there's a spider that I have on my left hand, and it's telling me I don't want to hurt anybody. It's sentient. And it's a huge black spider, multi eyes. It has red eyes. And but it's not heavy, but it's like, it tells me I don't want to hurt anyone. And there's this man and this lady that I remember that they're in like these tan uniforms, but that could also be a cover, them in the uniform, because we had to kill wolves, unfortunately. So this could be the wolves that we're trying to kill. And
Wow.
they have to, we have to, because if not, they don't feed us, and they'll kill us over and over, and they'll make us kill each other, and it's terrible. They won't feed us. So anyway, I end up putting this spider being on the fence, and this guy or wolf is trying to climb over, and I tell the guy telepathically, you got to go, because this thing's gonna blow. So, and I have to put it on the fence, and it blows up. And I feel so bad for the spider, because it's a sentient AI black goo thing, Kevlar, all that stuff is in there. And it's hard, Brad and audience, because I'm very like telepathic, and I'm very loving, you know, but yeah, you know, you have to have your boundaries also. But it's really hard, because I'm empathetic, and I feel for everything. And I talk on my phone. So it's, I don't know, like the black goo, there you can program it to be good or to be bad.
What do you think brought it here, and what could it have been used for? Why is it a threat to humanity, if you know?
Well, there's one theory that it was brought here by the aliens or the ETs, okay,
Yeah.
for the machine world, for basically to put us in slavery, because once we're injected with the black goo, or we're forced to drink it, we have no emotion, as far as like a loving emotion. Is just yes sir, we're gonna go kill, we're gonna go do what you say, you know, we our feelings go away, in other words. The other one is in Shula, like you said, and Penny Bradley also talks about this, that it was here um, that I think it's an island or something like that.
Cool.
Tool, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this other person. I've been trying to find it on YouTube. In 2017, I watched this man. He was in the Navy, and he was saying how the black goo was put into big old tanks, containers under Antarctica, I believe, and that most of the seamen died because the AI itself would get in their brain and just pretty much kill them off. Um, he would see something moving in the water, like he would communicate with him. And that's when he was talking about like some of the Coke and Pepsi products that have the black goo and things like that. Um, Back in 2017, when I saw this documentary, he was still alive. I don't know if he's still alive now, but that intrigued me. So um, that I know of, there's two sources of AI, the bad and the good. If you see Doctor Strange, the movie Doctor Strange, Nomamu, he is in charge of time travel and things like that. But anyway, hope I answered your question. I'm still learning as far as I don't have all the answers. I mean, I just go with my gut feeling. I go with what I see.
So what was your purpose to go down to Antarctica, and which one of the programs or Secret Safe programs took you down there? What was your role? What did they want you to do when you went?
I discovered Black Shield when I did my regression with James Rink. I named it Black Shield. I saw many bodies under ice that are getting ready to be programmed to be activated. Okay.
Super soldiers?
Yes, and those are the ones that we're gonna be fighting against. Plus the ones
Wow.
from China. Yes.
Chinese super
Yes.
soldiers?
And India. Okay.
Oh.
The good thing about when I spoke to Michael Jacob, we only spoke maybe 5 minutes or whatever. I told him who I saw, who he was, and I spoke to his wife too. I said, "You're this, and you're that person," and they were like, "What? No, but," and we got to talking and things like that. But now I understand why people that were in the military programs versus the super soldier programs, they're coming together with us. See, I don't know if Michael Jaco is a super soldier or not. All I know is that he was in the CIA and he worked with the same program. When I was in the US Army, I worked as Bravo 18 in the SOG program, which is, you can say Special Operations Group, but I know it's Special Operations Glass, which is looking through the stargates, okay, and going through there physically.
You have a memory of that?
Yes.
And the Stargate is similar to the jump room. It is a portal device that can put you in a faraway, distant land or other planet.
Yes, or other galaxy altogether.
Did
Now,
they ever explain the technology to you, give you a basic overview? How do they do it as best you understand?
well, this is weird because when I first had my awakening in 2017, I reached out to David Morrow, which I'm one of the female Hulks. He's the other Hulk. So is James. And then I was asking him about, who am I really the Hulk? Because I've been called the Hulk and I have all these powers and blah blah. I was asking him all these questions, and then I said, "What did they use me for?" He said that they used me for Stargate 1, and that I gave them some kind of information. I don't know yet, Brad, to this day, what kind of information I gave them, but that they still use it in the Stargate 1. Okay. So I know when we were kids, before they put us through there, they used, and you can talk to Susan and Frank about this too. They would put the homeless people through the Stargates to see if they would make it. Some of them would not make it. Some would come back and they would be vegetables. They were horrified. They never wanted to talk about it. As far as Antarctica, I know that I've seen the 13 crystal cities there myself. I did a meditation and I took myself there, and I've seen 13 crystal cities, 13 skulls. The 13 skulls have information from the aliens, okay, from the ETs, from our ancestors. Top secret information. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck it is. I know it has to do with technologies It has to do with Project Looking Glass, which part of the Project Looking Glass Mac 1 and Mac 2 Donald Trump has, and that's how he's able to see the future. So it's very fascinating to me. Why did Jim Carrey, I think that's his name, why did he go under there? I know that there are cities there. It's like pretty much a resort down there, okay? Like they have all these politicians go down there and make these deals with the aliens, and who's gonna be next elected, what are we gonna do as whatever, it could be the one world order, what exactly, detailed orientation, detailed meetings that they have down there. Numerology, I don't know why that's coming to me, but lots of numbers, plans, okay, for the humans, for the slave race. Just that's what I see. There's so many things going on there. Thank you.
Wow. And so it was all underneath the ice too, right? The experience you had in Antarctica was all under the ice. And
In a
do you
lab.
remember if there was any geothermal hot springs or steam vents, anything like that that looked volcanic
Yes.
or earth energy? Do you
Yes.
remember anything like that they might have been warming the base or using it as an energy source?
Yes, that's where the pretty
Did you
much
see that?
the HAARP thing, HAAR.
Yeah.
That's pretty, that and CERN has all CERN. Here we go. CERN, Elon Musk is there, and also in Texas, underneath the base there. So there's a lot of things that are going on with Project Umbrella, CERN, DARPA, CIA there. It's pretty much, they're coming together. They come together, and like I said, the bodies are there. It's underground. There's a lab there. There's caves there. There are cities there, buildings,
Wow.
sex rooms, whatever you want, you got it. I mean, if you're part of the elite, you're part of the elite. You know, if you go with their plan, they give you whatever you want.
Name it and use it. Yeah.
Yep, sadly.
Wow. How many people would you say were in that one? Could you estimate how many people might have been there living in that colony? Your best guess? Was it
Right now,
25?
the 2,500 is coming to me. 2,500 is the number that I get right now. But
2,500. Okay.
2,500. But
That's pretty good. That's pretty big size.
Yeah. And that's why they don't want me to talk, but I'm here.
And you mentioned you always have to ask good questions if you have interesting people, then you'll get interesting answers. But you mentioned earlier that there was an intersection with the alien groups too. Did you ever see any of that? And were they reptilians or grays or human-like? Could you discern what races might be there?
The races that I have.
You're muted. You're good.
Yeah, thank you. I have seen many races. I don't know what the names are. I know that, well, I'm familiar with some, like the mantids. I'm familiar with the Draco. The Draco are there. They are like the supreme, the guys that
So they're running the show.
Dracos. There are also their higher ups of the Draco. Okay, there are Arcturians. There are Anunnaki. There are ant beings, there are reptilians, there are these things that have swords as heads, like the fish that have the hammerheads. There's those kind of beings. There are the I don't know, I'm getting elephant beings, but the ones that have like the huge outer, like the mantarraya in Spanish. What is it in English? Stingray people are there. All kinds.
Okay.
There's even mermaids. There's humans, there's kids, and unfortunately that's where some of the children are being kept for pedophilia. So that's where we're trying to get them out of there. You know, what I'm upset about is that they used us in the programs to think that we were saving kids, and what we were actually doing is we were putting them back in the freaking programs. And now that we're awakened, now that they have not been able to kill us, we will not work for their factions. And they have, like my son, they had him in one of my, we'll say, memories or dreams in a headlock. And they said, if you don't come back to us, we're going to kill your son. And I'm like, you know what? This is all a lie. This is a hologram. Go ahead. I go, because that's not my son. So it's, you know, they have my kids in the programs, things like that, but I'm not going to go into that. It's just that my job is to get the word out as much as I can. It upsets me. I'm upset right now. I'm trying to calm down.
You've been through a lot, and this is why I think your testimony and others who have come from the program are very important. And it helps us understand, those of us who are just kind of looking at all this from the outside, trying to make sense of it. Talking about Antarctica, both you and I have experiences down there, but they're drastically different accounts. Mine was on the surface, yours was under the surface. Now, do you recall, was it an ice dome or was it rock? Was it under the land or under the ice, or a combination of both, if you can recall?
There's some parts that are just ice dome, and there's some parts that are caverns.
Okay.
And there's some that are combinations.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole complex, a maze of passages and rooms and larger areas. And how restricted were you walking around? Did you ever have any free time to kind of explore around or indulge in a hot spring, for example, or enjoy the place? Or that wasn't your role when you were there?
One of my roles was being a sex slave, party favor.
Right.
The other one was in black.
Well,
I had my black uniform on, and I had to do what they said.
right.
The other one was teaching the children certain things. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go into that. And it's also connected to Sandia. It's connected to Sandia Labs, to Las Vegas. Jump rooms.
I think Sandia is in Albuquerque.
Yeah, but it's connected though.
Or is it another location near Vegas too? Right. With the underground maglev trains. Certainly they connect Area 51, which is near Vegas, go into a little bit northern Arizona under the Grand Canyon, and then New Mexico, where Sandia Labs is, that's like Swiss cheese. There are so many underground bases in New Mexico, probably more than any other state. In fact, I have a map here of some of the, yep, here it is. Look at New Mexico, just packed. And there's your Sandia Labs, and then you can see it goes up to the West Coast through Southern Nevada. There it is, Area 51. It's on the map. So this is all becoming known. And I really applaud you, Veronica. I know this is hard for you to talk about, things that you're not exactly proud of having to do, but I think everybody understands a lot of this was against your will and against a lot of the people that were there, against their will. So really what we're talking is a form of bondage or slavery as part of what has happened to you guys when you were part of these programs. And it's dark. It goes against free will. It can even be elements of black magic, or with the pedophilia stuff, adrenochrome, or sex magic kind of stuff that the elite and the occultists are really into. It's dark, it's dirty, it's nasty. And well, quite frankly, that's why I think we're on this prison planet with an idea that if you can understand our predicament here, and you really do want to leave, as you stated, as I do, and I have stated in other interviews, you got to know how to do it. It's not like you're going to escape Alcatraz without a plan. You got to have a plan to get out of here. And it helps to understand why you're here in the first place. What are we here? What is our sentence? And maybe our sentence is we've been in other lifetimes and we've done things that in this lifetime we have to make up for. That's my perception. So my escaping prison planet plan is to be the very best person I can be. And that is to try to make sense of these very difficult subjects and condense it in the form of spoken word, of interviews like you, with our panel, with books like this, just help people try to understand. And so it is very good karma, as I was told when I was an English teacher in Japan, to impart your knowledge, to help others to understand what you know, even if it is talking about this really dark, dirty, nasty stuff. It's the only way that we can take our power back too. It's almost like the way gays took back some of the slurs against them, or blacks with the N-word, now use it all the time. When you make fun of it, or you bring it to light, or you use it and diffuse the power word or anything that we have to deal with, just making fun of it. The situation we're in today with the whole lockdown and the face diaper stuff, if we can make humor out of it, it's a much better way of dealing with this trauma, taking the power away from it, making a joke of it. There's a great John Lennon quote, I don't know word for word, but he was obviously really tortured by the establishment. You could even say that eventually was killed by Hinckley, who had a copy of Catcher in the Rye and was pretty good chance he was MK Ultra mind control. John Lennon was on Richard Nixon's enemies list. So they definitely had a reason to want to shut him up. And when you talk about love-ins and non-resistance, non-violence, imagine all the people living life in peace. I mean, these are the kind of thought shapers that were a real threat to the establishment. So this John Lennon quote is that the establishment will try to poke you and tug your beard and provoke you any way they can. And what they want to do is incite you to violence, because when you go to violence, then you're at their level and they know how to deal with you. But this is what John Lennon said, a famous peacemaker. He said, but when you make fun of them and come at them with sarcasm, they can't handle that. They can't deal with that. And then you take their power away. Because remember, it takes two to tango. Violence or fighting is always more than one person, right? You're at it with someone else. But if you cut that off, and maybe that's why in this lifetime I am so tall, because people don't mess with me other guys, and that's kind of a guy thing more than a guy woman thing. That's a different dynamic. But a guy thing, especially with real short guys, kind of have a chip on their shoulder, the old Napoleon complex. But tall, small, brown, black, red, white, yellow, none of that matters. It's never mattered to me or to you or to most people. And I very much endorse the saying of Martin Luther King, who said, I dream of a day when black and white children can hold hands and people are judged for the content of their character instead of the color of their skin. And that's all that's important. That's all we care about. You're not hurting me, I'm not hurt you. We're trying to help each other understand a very thorny complex. And it's good to bring in all races and all voices and all people on this planet, because this is a human problem we're in. We're the surface dwelling humans on Earth. So it's up to us, if we want to escape this prison planet, to have a plan to get out of here. And I think the real philosopher's stone, this goes way back into occult eras, it's that one magical elixir of all that ails ye, or all that there is to know. The philosopher's stone is this, Veronica. Once you realize you are a master in your own body on this human journey, like the bumper sticker says, you're not a human having a spiritual experience, you're the spirit having this human experience. And let's face it, you've had memories of lives and other planets, so have I, but now we're locked in this really dense third dimensional world where violence hurts and people do it to each other and life is cheap. You can buy a hit on someone on the dark web for about $1,000. Is that really what our lives are worth now? It's incredible. But we have these amazing abilities that we were born with, this creative spark that a lot of ETs are very jealous that we have. The whole archonic network in the lower 4D realms, which feed upon our fear and our anger and our lower emotional vibrational states. It's even called loosh. They're out there and it will be a feeding frenzy during times of war. I understand there's a lot of them in slaughterhouses. Every time I drive by one of these CAFOs, these large feedlot areas here in California, there's a real massive one along I-5. I'd like to put a big ohm sign up there, but I give them an ohm. And there is a lot of darkness and fear and anger on this planet. It is the emotion that emanates from Earth is fear above all else. But can you imagine if we can flip that to love and compassion and gratitude and friendship and peace amongst ourselves? We got to prove it that we can do it amongst ourselves. That's why I say there's this ridiculous notion that races matter. It doesn't. We're all in this together and we have to pull together. And this, to me, is the philosopher's stone. So once you realize that you are a master here to co-create heaven on earth, to do the very best you can with the limited resources, capacity, the life that you have, everybody matters, okay? Even if it's just thinking good thoughts, everybody matters. That's all you got to do. Just start with that. Then you can radiate out. Then you can radiate. Well, first you must love yourself, but then you can radiate to your friends, close friends, your family members. Forgiveness is huge on the emotional scale. To no longer hold a grudge against anyone or anything. And to realize that when you pass, when you leave your body, you will be the judge of your own life. All the pain, all the suffering that you may have caused, you're going to have to come back and re-experience that. So this is the philosopher's stone. Once you understand that everything you do that starts with the thoughts in your head that radiate out to all the actions that you do day in, day out, week in, week out, month, years of your life. Look, the clock is ticking every single day. We don't even know if this could be our last day. Who knows? You walk across the street tomorrow morning, get a cup of coffee, get hit by a taxi, it's over. Are you ready? Are you really ready to die? Because you should be. And that's why prepping for anything is a good idea, especially prepping a plan to get off this prison planet. And it is one of the greatest endeavors a human can undertake. I think it's right up there with attempting to become enlightened, as the Buddha has instructed us. There are ways that we can make our bodies very strong. And I think you've learned some of these in the program. So there's some good things that you guys got out of this. And in a way, I'm kind of jealous. You got this incredible training and abilities to utilize your human body and your mind that the civilians like myself, we're still playing catch up trying to understand all this. But I think we all agree that really the main good you can do in your life is to be the best person you can be. I asked a very wise person this from India, another traveler, half my lifetime ago when I was on my 3-year trip around the world. And it was all kind of coming to me then. What do I need to do? What's my purpose here before I became an author or anything? The end of my first Saturn return, he said, pursue wisdom, be charitable, and be compassionate. Those are the 3 things every single person can do right now with everyone around them. It's really just so simple and it's so easy. I got an extra $1 to give a homeless guy. I don't care if you buy a bottle of beer tonight or smoke some weed with it, whatever, man. He says, God bless you. And you know what? That sometimes it means more than this material world, because this is all the matrix. And you know this, Veronica, and we talked about this. We live in this matrix of deception that all these make-believe notions are thrust upon us, and we're supposed to believe this is reality? How come we're not learning about reincarnation in school? How come we don't learn about our spiritual selves or how we can enhance these superhuman abilities, which are latent and innate within all of us? Let's give that a chance. How about we learn that? Or go back to the way the ancient Greeks used to teach out in nature and learn that all life has a certain life force within it, and to understand our place in that world, not separate from it, but unified with it. And these are the kind of teachings I think in the future will make humans very, very powerful and effective and can live much longer lives. And in fact, these are the subjects that I chronicle in all 3 of my esoteric series of books. And I don't repeat my material. And this is about 1,400 pages of all the things that have been hidden that are now being revealed. And this is what I've been working on. My life project for the last decade is doing this stuff and taking it out to conferences where I met you, and interviews like this and many others. And we can do this. We can do this together. And you know what? Humans wake up real quick. We do. As soon as we start to grok something, this is in the whole concept of the 100th monkey effect, where we could have this great human awakening quite instantaneously, that we could have this peace on earth. We could have this 1,000 years of peace, this reign of humans getting along, ending starvation, ending the environmental degradation, introducing free energy that could create desalinization plants and turn this planet back into the garden planet it's always been. And it's up to us, the human race of the surface planet. Even though you and I weren't responsible for doing it, we're still part of the human race that did do it. And we should be concerned with cleaning up the mess and restoring this planet to what it was. And then that's your escape off a prison planet, people. That's how you do it. You be a very, very good person and devote yourself in service to all. And just do as much as you possibly can with the short amount of time you can. And I'm not saying you're going to start your own radio show out there, or you're going to write books or produce great big street fair events is the other job I do. But it's what I love to do. It's what I'm really good at. And to me, it's a form of artistry. I get to work on designs like the yellow cube. I get to draw the poster for the How Weird Street Fair. I get to be a part of the creation. And that's the miracle of being a human. You have this creative spark. You can make things and put them out there in the world. And oftentimes they will have unintended consequences that you never would have thought could have been part of your initial intention of putting it out there. And in my book, Modern Esoteric, I talk about this very notion of creating and unintended consequences. This big event I produce in San Francisco, which I'm the founder of and continue to be the co-producer. And people will come up to me and say, oh man, 2 years ago, I met this guy and he knew I needed a job and I got this great career and turned my life around and now I can afford a nice place. And I just want to say thank you for that. Well, thanks for coming to our party and having a good time. And other people come up, oh, I met my soulmate, my lover, and even having children together because they came to an event that I created for entirely different reasons. I mean, I'm looking into what it takes, the logistics of doing something like this and putting it on, and then everybody else coming in and they're playing their role as an attendee wearing a costume, having a good time. But this is what I mean, unintended consequences. Things do come of what you create. And it's a beautiful thing to see it in real time and happen in your lifetime. So be a manifester, make this stuff happen in whatever way. If it's just having friends over and talking about these subjects, watching this video, Veronica, because what you had to say was amazing, remarkable. And I know it's troubling and not really something you take pride in when you say what you had to go through, but it's got to be healing for you. And you must understand that we're all really in this together. So part of the pain that you've experienced and children and others who are trapped in this stuff, that's part of being the human family. We all have to have compassion for each other. And I think then, and only then, when we really come together and there is no more starvation and we can work out all the issues here on the planet, start making it a real beautiful garden that it's always been, then I think we'll be able to sit at the table with the benevolent ETs and say, here we are. We're able to come together with you now because we finally learned how to love each other. And when love is the fear that, the emotion that emanates and replaces fear, that's when we turn the corner. That's when we're fully embraced in the golden age. And I sure want to see it in my lifetime, and I'll do whatever it takes in service to all to usher that in and make it happen. Even if it's like now, just sharing the vision and letting people understand what I've gone through and what I'm endeavoring to do. I've certainly not had to put myself out on the line like you have, but I've taken some arrows too, and I've been targeted just for talking peace and love like John Lennon, just for trying to show people there's another way to look at things. There's always another way to look at things. Everything has polarity on this planet. That's why we're locked in the very stiff, third dimensional, tough reality. And so many new souls, so many of these indigo children or those born with these amazing abilities get locked here in prison planet, and they're just horrified with what they have to see and do. And that's why life is so hard for a lot of them. But others are able to adapt and work in this system. And that's what we really need is people to look. I can't stand money as much as anybody. I'd love to see the end of that. I have a chapter in Future Esoteric called The End of Money. For an example, there's so many things we can do to change our way of living here on the planet. And there's so much abundance. It's really a distribution problem. That is the problem to hunger too, and education. If people understand that having these massive families to work on a farm is no longer necessary, but just have a sustainable number to keep your community going, that's what we're still an animal on this planet, so to speak. We're part of the biosphere, and as a result, we should treat it as such. Back to you.
Thank you, Brad. That was beautiful what you said. You had me crying because I do love a lot, and I do want people to, unmask their souls, unchain their heart, forgive themselves for things that they've done in the past. And we can all change. We can all activate our DNA. We can all start by taking care of ourselves, our body, our mind, our spirit. And like you said, even if you have $1 or two, who cares if they're gonna, the homeless are gonna, whatever the eckies, whatever they're gonna use it on. It's about your heart. It's about, putting yourself in their shoes as well. And I've had this idea where, there's so many females out there that are homeless. You can, even get like a little purse, or put essentials, the feminine products, whatever, even males, whatever they may need, and just giving it away. I give away a lot of water. Like if I don't have like extra change or whatever, I give whatever I have. When I used to smoke, here's a cigarette, So it's like we can all be of service to others. And I agree with you 100%. And it is about karma. It is about letting go of the greed, letting go of past hurts, and forgiving yourself, and saying tomorrow's another day, and loving the people that are right next to you, your neighbors, your children, whoever lives with you, your animals. Once I had an awakening. I was like, wow, the animals are coming to me. The plants are growing. I'm not killing them anymore. The plants. So that's one thing that I saw when I finally healed myself. I mean, I'm still healing, obviously, but I have 2 cats now that love me. Before I used to not like them. I have plants to grow, and I love cats now. I love animals. So, but anyway, thank you, Brad, for being on. I know you have to go, and your book is the one that you just wrote is Beyond Esoteric. And I would like, if you can send more information, like as far as the San Francisco thing, I would like to go. I would love to volunteer. I'm a giver to my time. I would love to help with that. And if you don't mind telling the public like how they can get a hold of you, if you how they can purchase your books, eh, and what other platforms you'll be on or you were on, just everything about you that they can get a hold of you, please. Thank you.
Sure. Well, the event is called the How Weird Street Fair, and we are going to find out in 2 weeks on July 8th if we can do it on September 12th. So the last year we couldn't do it. This spring, when we normally do it, has been now pushed to the fall. So it's howweird.org is the website for everything about that event. And I'll be there. Probably won't see me. I work behind the scenes. It's kind of funny. I give the stage to all the DJs and performers. They're the superstars in this. I'm behind the scenes producer guy. And my books are available everywhere. Order one through your local bookstore. They'll get it. We got a great distributor, independent publishers group. But my website is cccpublishing.com. If you order it on the website, then it goes through my office and I'm able to sign copies for people on the way out the door. And if you want to know more about me and some of my upcoming events, bradolsen.com. And I will be speaking at Contact in the Desert this weekend. It is an online virtual event this year, but the next live event I'll be at is the Mount Shasta Summer Conference, of course, up at Mount Shasta at the very end of August. And if you use the promotion code BRAD, you get a discount. And it'll tell the producer of the event that you're coming to see me. And I'm going to do my hidden anomalies of Antarctica. It's among one of the last times I'm going to give this talk, because I've got 2 new presentations that I'm going to give in 2022, launching at UFO MegaCon in late February with my new talk called Hidden Esoteric in Plain Sight, which is more in support of the books. But I've also been traveling a lot through paranormal hotspots and cryptid country, including Bigfoot country. And I've been taking all these really funny pictures. I went to the Bigfoot Museum, and I've just been asked by another conference here in the Bay Area called Mystic Minds. We haven't posted it yet, but to do Bigfoots and other cryptids is the second presentation for 2022 that I'm currently starting to put together. So I stay busy with that. I'm looking at some other publishing projects. I really shouldn't announce anything until the contracts are signed. And my book is off to the races, the best launch of Beyond Esoteric only a couple months ago. It's now in its third printing. So thanks everybody out there for the feedback and checking it out. Strong 5-star rating on Amazon. And really happy to be on your show with you today, Veronica. It's great to connect with you, and thank you for your insights. And I always like it when I do an interview and I can learn something too. So thanks for letting me ask the questions for a while and play the host, and you were answering my questions as well. So that was very enjoyable.
You're welcome, Brad, and thanks again. And I look forward to seeing more of you and learning more. And I'm going to buy that book, that one esoteric one. It's very interesting.
You should.
I will. I
You'll
want
like
to know
it.
more about the money thing. How do we not use money? Other than
Future
manifesting.
esoteric,
Right.
the end of money.
Yes. And
Well,
Brad,
I'll see you at the next conference then.
thank you. You're on Facebook, right?
All the time with you.
Okay.
I'll answer
That way
questions.
people can look you up. Thank you, Brad. Have a great day.
All right.
Being here. Bye,
Have a
Katie.
good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.